You know, this election in Miami, I mentioned it yesterday, the fact that Eileen Higgins just won big, but the details are now in, the demographic details. Miami has always been, well, first of all, these mayoral elections are off year, they don't correspond to either presidential elections or even midterm elections. And so the turnout is always very, very low. I mean, you've got 500,000 more or less registered voters, and you might get 30 to 50,000 people showing up to vote. And this has always worked to the advantage of the Republicans because the right-wing Republican Cuban community in Miami always votes. I mean, they just show up in big numbers. And that's why it's been 30 years, more or less, since there was a Democrat who was a mayor of Miami. And it's been a long time since there was a mayor of Miami who wasn't Hispanic. Eileen Higgins is not Hispanic. There has never been a mayor of Miami who was a woman. She is a woman, and she's a Democrat, the first Democratic mayor, to hold office since 1997. That's almost 30 years. Not only that, she beat her opponent, her Donald Trump-backed Republican opponent, by almost 20 points. I mean, this is just massive. This is a trend. We're seeing this all over the country. And what's particularly fascinating about what happened in Miami, and I think that this might be something that should give Republicans, particularly in Florida and Texas, where you have large Hispanic populations. Not necessarily, not all Cuban, obviously, but large Hispanic populations, is that in 2021, the Republicans won the mayor's race 79-12, right? 79% voted for the Republicans. And only 25,000 people showed up to vote in 2021 out of 442,000 who could have voted. This time, 36,000 ballots were cast. But the GOP candidate vote total fell from 21,000 in 2021 to just 7,000 day before yesterday on Tuesday. Despite Trump and Ron DeSantis out there, pumping for the Republican. On top of that, Higgins, the new mayor-elect, this woman who was just elected mayor of Miami, she ran on trash-talking Trump's ICE raids and trash-talking DeSantis's alligator Alcatraz, calling it, immoral and illegal and, just wrong. This is one of the things that she said. She said, "We are facing rhetoric from elected officials that is so dehumanizing and cruel, especially against immigrant populations. The residents of Miami, we're ready to be done with that." And then you get this data science, Radel Nabut, who's really looked into this and found that the Cuban precincts shifted 20 points to the left. And Republicans were crushed even in Anglo areas like Coconut Grove, a very, white, very Republican area. In May, now, this is 5 months into the Trump presidency, but, the whole ICE thing was rolling along, and alligator Alcatraz, I'm not sure exactly when it was created, if it preceded that or was then or followed it, but deportation was happening in any case. This is what this political scientist, this data scientist out of Miami says. He says, of the Venezuelans who voted for Trump in November, see, they went around and asked them. They interviewed these people. Of the Venezuelans who voted for Trump in November, often referred to as MAGAzuelans, half in the survey now say that they regret or have mixed feelings about their choice. Almost 40% of them say in the future they will vote either Democratic, Independent, or non-MAGA. Many seemed embarrassed by their original vote. Only 32% of Venezuelan respondents who voted in November admitted that they had voted for Trump, despite his getting 61% of the vote. So half the people they interviewed lied and said, no, I didn't vote for that SOB. More than 1/5 refused to say who they supported. You know why. So, kind of good news. I keep telling you, I've I've always been an optimist. I'm horrified by what Trump has done to America, both in his last term and this term. I'm horrified by what the GOP has done to America in the years since Reagan was elected, in the 44 years since the Reagan Revolution. And all that said, and I can give you chapter and verse of, you know, the horrors, but all that said, I think things are going to get better. I don't think they're going to get better immediately. I think we're in for probably a rough year as Trump is twisting in the wind and getting more and more bizarre.